Marcus Ealy here for Status Coup, and I'm here with David Boyd. And what brought you out to see all of the candidates today?
Well, I'm still trying to decide who I'm going to caucus for. And so this is another opportunity to hear them, specifically in areas that I have a real concern about in terms of social justice and independent and impartial courts.
So, what particular candidates are like your front runners right now?
Probably Senator Klobuchar, Vice President Biden, and Buttigieg probably are my top three at the moment.
Okay, so you consider yourself more of like a centrist Democrat then?
I would consider myself more of a centrist Democrat, yes.
All right. So what in specific policy wise do you like about the centrists that you don't like about that you don't agree with, rather I should say, with the progressives on?
Well, I think in addition to be a centrist Democrat, I'm also looking for someone that have the most confidence in terms of defeating President Trump in November. And I believe those are the candidates that have the best chance of bringing over independents like I was, as well as Republicans or former Republicans that have now become independents. They have the best chance of getting them out and voting for them in November.
So you think that that's the strategy the Democrats should be following? Because a lot of people would say the other strategy would be, or a lot of strategists have said the other strategy or more effective strategy would be to go for the plurality of people in America that do not vote currently. Because if you look at the numbers in 2016, based on Hillary Clinton and Trump, if electoral votes counted for people that didn't vote, Hillary would have got 22 or 23 electoral votes. Trump would have got 18 electoral votes, and the 400 and something left would have all went to nobody as president because the plurality of people did not vote.
And that's why I believe that the people that I'm looking at primarily will help bring some of those people to the poll to vote.
So you think that the folks that are centrists are going to win the people over instead of the progressives? Well, the reason I say that is because Bernie Sanders is the farthest left candidate, and he's brought in more people into this process. Meaning, like when he started his run, he had 1 million volunteers, and most of those people were not active in politics beforehand. So, like the data is showing that like he brought in all these people already, and that's where he's focused his campaign at.
Well, and I think a lot of those people are still left over from 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they're all really new. And I just, I believe that I guess I don't want to see, I'm old enough to remember 1972 and George McGovern. And you could make the same argument in 1972, and we know what the result of that election was. It was a landslide for Richard Nixon.
Yeah. In 1972, there was corporate media that pumped out the same message, and there was no social media counter message to that, though.
That's true too. Yeah, but no. Anyway, that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, definitely no. Like, it's important that everybody hears all sides of everything. That's why I come out here as somebody that's a progressive in progressive media, talking to folks like you. So, what message do you have as somebody that's more of a moderate Democrat to progressives in general right now during the primary? Not looking forward to the election. No talk of unity, because that's like unity. We can get to that after the convention. But right now, during the primary, when we're trying to hash out our differences and figure out which candidate's the best, what do you?
I don't think you can do that so much because I think that the most important issue, if you asked me what the most important issue was for me, my answer to that question would be defeating President Trump. And so I think you really have to, uh, talk about who do you think best has that opportunity to beat President Trump in November. And I think you have to talk about that now. If you don't, I think it's you can win the battle and lose the war.
That's very.
I'm more concerned about winning the war as opposed to the battle.
So then I guess the data would say you'd have to go with Bernie Sanders because he's beat him in every poll since 2015 before the man was president.
Uh, the good news is that there are many candidates that
Who haven't beat him in every poll since 2015.
in the polls have defeated, or at least are considered to be leading him. Um, so I mean, I think there's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot to choose from, and one thing I agree with you, and I think a lot of progressives agree with you on, is that sure anybody's better than Donald Trump, but where a lot of progressives will diverge with you on in your point is they will say, okay, that's great that Donald Trump's a poop sandwich. I don't want to eat a poop sandwich. But don't offer me ramen noodles when I have hypertension and there's a perfectly good salad right there. I'd like the salad. The salad's the healthy choice. Can I have the healthy choice instead of the ramen noodles and say, no, that's not a poop sandwich. Don't eat the poop sandwich. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's how progressives feel. They're like, there's clearly a healthy choice here. And you're telling me, no, but this is something to eat. Just go with the something to eat. Take your marginal little bit here and there. And they're like, no, Australia's on fire. The smoke is in Chile. You know what I mean? This is how progressives feel. This is the best, and a lot of times, folks get shouted down and told, "No, it's okay. The smart people in the room will figure this out. They'll handle it. We got this." And it's just, and they get frustrated. And I talk to them all the time, and they literally the number one comment is, "How does Marcus talk to these people all the time without getting in a full rage mode?" And it's like, no, dude. I want to listen to folks like you. I genuinely enjoy having these conversations. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that are suffering from these things, and they turn around and get called Bernie Bros, and they turn around and get really frustrated. And it's like, okay, that's great. We have a lot of people that are doing fine and doing really well, but there are 30,000 people a year dying from these healthcare issues. There are people that work at Walmart and can't make ends meet. There are people that work at McDonald's, can't make ends meet. There are people in Flint, Michigan, still don't have clean water. And we look again and again and again, and the people that are on the forefront of these issues support one candidate, and that's Bernie Sanders. And then they get turned around and get yelled at and get told they're Bernie Bros because they're raging and they're yelling on Twitter, and it's like, yeah, of course they're raging. They're getting shitted on. Excuse my French. You know what I mean? But like, that's like, of course these people are like, of course they're raging and they're mad. Like this system has completely ignored them, and they finally raise up and say something, and then folks just no, let the adults handle it. Like, how, you know what I mean? What do you say to that?
Well, what I say to that is, I don't have that experience, so
You don't have that experience. So
I don't
listen to those folks that have that experience, though.
no. Well, but I'm not saying not to listen to them, okay? But I don't have that experience of having people put down anybody who supports, Sanders or Warren or any of the other candidates that are running. I don't have that experience, so
It's tough. It's crazy that you don't have that experience, because if we look all over the media and all over social media, like there's always talk of Bernie Bros, or there's always talk of these people that
show I'm out of touch.
yeah, and that's in the case of this, that's a good thing, I guess.
Oh well, but and
We found the one case when being out of touch is good.
yeah.
We found an out of touch moderate, and it's a good thing.
But but people that I talk to, that are either Republicans or independents, I'm thinking about them and how do we get them not only to the polls, but to vote, and to help move President Trump out of the White House, and that's still going to become, and I, regardless of anybody's, I mean whoever it is, I mean if Senator Sanders is a candidate that is eventually nominated, I'll be right there for Senator Sanders. It for me, like I said at the beginning, my primary goal is finding someone who actually will win the election. That's what's key.
Another 4 years of Trump probably kills us all.
And that's state by state, because I think we all agree and know that in November, whoever the candidate is for the Democrats will actually win the popular vote. There's no doubt in my mind right now that whoever is the Democratic nominee will win the popular vote again. The question is, and where the polls really matter, are in those states where Trump won that we need to win back.
You just watched Status Coup's In the Field coverage with me live on the ground from Iowa. We can't do this without your support, so make sure to like, share, subscribe, and become a member at statuscoup.com.